Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Andy's Witchcraft by me, Tarot by Andy. I hope you are all having a wonderful day so far and that you guys enjoyed the full strawberry moon on Saturday, I believe it was. I hope you guys had the chance to reflect and pull some tarot or oracle cards, maybe do some spell work, or even just connect to your deities. But if you could not openly celebrate the full moon because you are in the broom closet, never fear, because this episode is for you. Because today we are discussing tips for being in the broom closet. Before we start giving these tips, I'd like to shout out the members of my server, Crystal Caverns, for coming up with this list for this episode. They helped a lot. I was running short on ideas, and they definitely made this episode as long as it's going to be. So thank you again, everyone, for being a part of it. The first few tips, we're gonna do alternatives. So alternatives to divination stuff and ways that you can use the divination, but maybe using everyday items that you can find around your house. And then at the end of the episode, we're gonna discuss magic, like rituals and spells that are very much low key and that aren't as noticeable or quote unquote witchy as people believe, especially people you want to hide it from, like if you live in an evangelical household, or if your roommate does not like witches, or if you just don't want to be open about your craft to your friends and family. These tips and rituals will be really great for you to use. So first we have alternatives to tarot cards. You can use regular playing cards where hearts are cups, diamonds are pentacles, clubs are wands, and spades are swords. And these will obviously depict the minor arcana of tarot decks. And so these are really great if you want to do quote unquote tarot divination using just the minor arcana, which are great for your everyday stuff, not really super specific for your spiritual growth, but they're good for your everyday matters like relationships, finances, your specific kind of future stuff. It's great for that. In addition, you could keep the Joker cards in your deck and use those to depict the Fool. Unfortunately, using this method is very limited when it comes to the major arcana, which is really meant to depict your spiritual journey and your spiritual growth and development. Regular playing cards do not necessarily have that option. You can maybe if you combined playing cards or something like that. You can find ways, maybe combining two playing cards together and writing major arcana, or writing high priestess. Why can I not think of examples? High priestess, chariot, major arcana cards like that. There are definitely ways you can incorporate the major arcana in regular playing cards, and it's completely up to you, whatever you prefer and are comfortable with. Also, in addition to regular playing cards, you could also use Uno cards. I love the game Uno. I have like 3 decks, so this seems like a great alternative, not only for me, but for anyone else. You can associate the colors with particular suits. So, for example, red is pentacles, green is wands, yellow is swords, and blue is cups. And then you already have the numbers on there. And then those extra cards, like the changing color Uno card, you can label it a major arcana. So label the changing color as the Fool. So these are both regular playing cards, and Uno cards can be great to depict tarot card suits and images. Next, we're going to discuss oracle card alternatives. So, oracle cards, if you don't know the difference between tarot cards and oracle cards, check out my divination episode, which was last episode that I recorded. Oracle cards are a little more subtle, less rigid structure, and more flexible than tarot cards. So examples of Oracle card alternatives: if you collect Pokemon cards, you can use those. If you're a Pokemon fan like I am, you know that the different Pokemon out there have different personalities, are associated with different elements. And so based on the personalities and elements, you can come up with your own associations and interpretations for each Pokemon card, and that will provide something similar to what an Oracle card would give you. The same goes for what's called Belisara cards. My lovely girlfriend suggested this, so thank you for this. These are cards that are kind of like Pokemon cards, but instead of collecting Pokemon, you are collecting horses. And they're really cute and adorable. Unfortunately, they are not sold in stores. You'll have to buy them online on eBay, Amazon, maybe Etsy if some people sell it. And so that is another Oracle card alternative where the horses represent different personalities and you can come up with different interpretations based on them. You could also make your own art collages or make up your own Oracle cards using your artwork. A lot of people do this already, and I think that is just wonderful, and a way that you can also give these cards that you made with your own hands to your deities as an offering, and I think they really appreciate that. On top of that, it's very low-key. If your parents see a bunch of your artwork, if you draw them small and like in the size of like regular cards, that is great as well, and it works because not only can you just make room for it on a shelf or something, but if your parents see it, they'll be like, oh, she's drawing and she made a bunch of small drawings to give away or something like that. And so art collages that you make can also be used as Oracle cards. Next, we have alternatives to bone throwing. If you are the type of person that loves bone throwing but can't own your own bones because, well, a lot of people will have opinions on that. An alternative to this would be to use charms. These could be charms you find on bracelets, necklaces. You can buy them in packs, and so on and so forth. Maybe even beads off of your bracelet, like an old bracelet you have, and stuff like that. Two things you'll have to assign for this to work the best it can be. Number one, you assign each charm in your charm set with a meaning. For example, if you have a heart locket, you could associate that with romantic relationships or with self-love, whatever you prefer. And then two, you'll have to assign the positions that when you throw the charms and they land a certain way, those positions have to mean something to you. And you could come up with it based on your own intuition. For example, if the charm falls and it's upside down, you could interpret that as reversed meaning. So the heart locket fell upside down. That means that you are in a tumultuous relationship with love, either self-love or romantic love, depending on what you interpreted that heart locket to be. In addition, you could say, depending on where it landed on your floor or whatever you're throwing on. For example, if it lands on the left side, it can mean it's weak and something you need to work on, versus the right side, which is strong, something that is stable in your life, something that you are confident is good and that you don't need to work on as much as other aspects of your life. That's a possible interpretation. Again, these are just examples. You don't have to use this, but when I think of right, I think of strength and stability, and then left, I think of weak and something I need to work on. That's my personal interpretation. So once you assign the positions with meanings and your charms with meanings, you could write down these meanings, especially if you have a book of shadows or a grimoire or even just a piece of paper. Write down these meanings so you don't forget, and so that when you practice your charm throwing, you could practice the meanings you made and see if it works and see if something needs to be changed and whatnot. So it's a great alternative to throwing bones. An alternative to crystal pendulum divination. So pendulum divination most of the time is a crystal pendulum, but if you cannot own crystals for certain reasons, what you can use is a necklace. So keep the locket dangling on the string of the necklace and use that. Or if you are a crystal pagan or you practice folk magic, you could use a rosary. That works just as well. Or you could even tie a rock to a string or a chain, and that can work as well. Basically, anything that dangles can be used as a pendulum. Again, if you can't keep crystals at home, and you can't have them on your altar or something and people are gonna question it, what you can collect instead are rocks or seashells or pieces of wood like sticks outside. These things come from the earth, and so they have spiritual qualities as well. You can associate the shapes of them to certain meanings, the colors to certain meanings, and on top of that, some rocks even have crystals inside or are made up of crystals. So if you can figure out what crystals are in there, it's a great alternative, and you can find out the associations of those certain crystals. Next, we have alternatives to having a statue of your deity on their altar. If you cannot get a statue of your deity, for example, I work with Lucifer and I can't have a statue of Lucifer in my home. That's not gonna work. So what I would do is I would either get a stuffed animal or an animal statue that is associated with your deity and put that on the altar instead. For example, I associate Lucifer with crows and owls. So I have an owl statue on my altar, and I have a picture of a crow on my altar as well. And these things are great alternatives as well. I say as well a lot. My apologies. On top of that, you can have a picture of your deity on your home screen. So if your phone is password protected and your parents do not snoop through it, it's a great way to have a picture of your deity with you at all times, so that when you unlock your phone, you can look at it and just reflect on your relationship with said deity throughout your day. So this is something that you can do. But let's say you can't have an altar on a shelf, your parents are questioning it, your siblings are questioning it, and it's just you're tired of it and you want it to be more discreet. What you can have is a shoebox altar. Take out shoes out of their box and use that box to add your altar ingredients in it. Your crystals, your rocks, your sticks, your seashells, your statues, your candles, a lighter, flowers, whatever you want on the altar, put that in the shoebox. And then you could hide away the shoebox with other boxes that actually have shoes in it. That way, if someone sees it, they'll be like, oh, it's just a bunch of shoes in their boxes. So that is a more discreet and subtle altar that you can have. And when you want to practice your craft and do some spell work with your deity, get your shoebox out and do some spells. Next, we have alternatives to having a physical paper book of shadows. If you can't write in a journal your book of shadows because you're afraid someone will find them, there are 3 alternative apps on the computer that you can use, or even on your phone. You can have it on your phone too, but I find that computers are easier to manage. Number 1 is Google Docs. So obviously just having a Google document, and this is great because you could rearrange the order of things whenever you want. But when things are paper and pencil, if you have a notebook, you can't really rearrange the notebook without ripping out the pages. So Google Docs is a great alternative. Another alternative is PowerPoint slides, like Microsoft Slides or Google Slides. This is great, especially if you want to put pictures in, make them look pretty. You could do that. And then finally, this is an app that someone in the Crystal Caverns server suggested. It's called Notion. It's a note-taking web application. From what I hear, it's a little difficult to learn all the features, but once you do, you can make a really nice looking grimoire or book of shadows, whatever you call them. So that's Notion, Notion. Next, we have alternatives to sigils or runes. So, the alternatives to this, number 1, we have the letters of the English alphabet. So if you have the letters A through Z, you can associate them with certain meanings or sigils or runes that you want, and then you could just write them down. So let's say the letter O, it's a circle, so it's protection. You're like protected in the circle, letter O. Whenever you want protection, you could just write the letter O on your wrist, or put it on draw the letter O on your candle, and that's like a protection candle. You could write the letter O, like, stuff like that. And then that way, it's just a letter of the alphabet. It doesn't really mean anything, right? In addition, you can incorporate sigils or runes into your artwork. So if you're someone who paints, who draws, who sews, add in a sigil into your artwork, your creative thing, and then blend it into it so that it's not as obvious. And then that way, if nobody can see the sigil, like no one sees that the sigil or the rune is in there, but you know it's there, and whenever you look at that painting or thing you knit or sewed or the drawing you made, you can remember, this is the intention I had, and I'm gonna work towards this goal. Finally, the last alternative for sigils or runes is something called emoji magic. This is something I had no idea existed, but it does, and it's very interesting. So emojis, obviously you could see the facial expressions, and so these can be used to represent emotions or situations that you want in your life, which is very similar to what sigils and runes do. Each rune has a meaning associated with it, a letter associated with it, and emojis can do the same thing. So you could have that, print out emoji stickers or whatever, and your parents will think, it's just an emoji. Nah, this is for witchy stuff. So those are all like the alternatives to different types of divination. If you have any other suggestions for alternatives to any of the options that I listed above, put them in the comments below and share your knowledge with others. The final section of this episode, we are going to discuss magic that is low-key. These are rituals and spell work that is very subtle and discreet, and no one will really think anything of it. This is especially the case if you live in, again, an evangelical household where it's common to pray and to light candles and literally do witchy stuff, but they don't realize that. But if you live in a household that does that, these are options that you can do without anyone raising an eye. Batting an eye, raising an eyebrow. That's the saying. So, the first option, as I said before, lighting candles with the intention that you want. So lighting candles is a powerful form of spell work. I love candle magic. My entire craft is composed of candle magic. And so I love it. I feel like mainly I love it because it's so discreet and it's so perfect. And my parents literally walk in on me lighting a candle with herbs on it, and they don't really think anything of it. They're like, it's just a candle. And they wanted to make it look pretty. Yes, I wanted to make it look pretty. That was the purpose of the herbs. Yeah, you're right. Good job. So, if you light the candles with the intention you want, that is really good manifesting magic and spell work. And the awesome part about this is that if you can't get candles in different colors, because if you practice color magic, you know that certain colored candles can mean different things and help further accelerate what you want to manifest. But let's say you can't get candles in a different color because your family really, really thinks that's witchy, like that's suspicious. What you can do is just get a plain white candle. And since white is made up of the combination of all the colors in existence, it has the power and manifesting abilities of each color in existence. And so it could substitute any colored candle. So you want green for money. Now, you can't get a green candle, but you can get a white candle. You want a black for protection. I got you. A white candle. Amazing alternative, and you're all set to go. In addition, you can get scented candles. If you really want something more than just a white candle, scented white candles are where it's at, or any scented candle really, because your parents will think, they just want to make the room smell nice. So scented candles, and make sure that the scent is coordinated with your intention. So, for example, you can get a lavender scented candle, and lavender is great for peace and tranquility. You could get a rose scented candle for self-love or romantic relationships. I have a berry scented candle, and it's red, and that is what I use for Not only my self-love magic, but I used it for the full strawberry moon because strawberry is a berry and it's red and it's beautiful. So I used it for that. And oh, it's just, I wanted my room to smell like berries. That was the purpose. So this is a very low-key magic for you to do. The next thing you can do is leave a cup of water on your windowsill in your bedroom to collect moon water. Even if the moon, you cannot see it through your bedroom window, maybe it's on like the other side of your house and you can't see it from your way, you can still do this and you'll still get the power of the moon, like through that intention and that action. And the best part about this is if you're questioned about it, you can just say you get thirsty at night and you just wanted a cup of water nearby so you could drink instead of walking all the way to the kitchen. So that is a great thing for you to do. And you could do the same thing with jewelry. If you want to charge your jewelry under the sunlight or moonlight or even both, put your jewelry on the windowsill and charm it with the energy of the sun or the moon. And that works just as well. And if anybody asks you about it, just be like, oh, I forgot to take it off. I forgot to take it off until I was in bed. And so I got up and took it off and just put it on the windowsill quickly, or whatever. Or just say, oh, I took it off and put it on the windowsill so I wouldn't forget where it is or something like that. And, you know, these are not suspicious behaviors at all. So it's very great for low-key stuff. The third low-key thing for you to do is planting and gardening. This is especially great if you are a green witch or a witch that works with herbal magic. It helps for not only you can get herbs for your spell work and manifesting stuff and just your offerings to deities, but on top of that, you can use them as wards. So I have so many cacti, I think that's the proper plural of cactus, but I have cacti in my room, and because they have thorns on it, to me, I put the intent in my cacti that, hey, you guys are going to protect me, you're going to help me out. Any negative energy is going to get stabbed onto your thorns and not going to go near me. You're going to destroy it. So plants can work great as wards as well. Or if you have like a vine wall, like the vines will just capture all the negative energy in the vines and like it won't penetrate through. These kinds of intentions are really great. So again, planting and gardening, offerings, herbal magic, and wards. The fourth low-key thing for you to do, it kind of went with the candle magic, but just mentally visualizing what it is that you want to manifest. And this is a low-key thing to do. You don't even need a candle for this. Just during the day, take a moment of silence, close your eyes, and say, I'm going to manifest this. Or like when you're manifesting something, you have to act like you already have it. So take a moment, close your eyes, and think, I am successful, or I am powerful, or I am beautiful. Like you already have that. And truly, I believe that everyone has beauty in them. So you are beautiful. If that's a message you needed to hear, you are beautiful. The fifth low-key magic thing is to physically clean your room. Number one, this is great. This is a great witchy thing because it will motivate you to clean your room. Let's say you want to cleanse your space of negative energy, but you can't use candles or incense, or maybe you have pets at home. Maybe you have family sensitive to smells. Maybe you're allergic to scented products. Whatever the case is, you can physically clean your room, mop your floors, sweep your floors, do the dust, and you can also keep in mind, I am cleansing away all negative entities. I banish negative entities, so mote it be. And keep repeating that in your head as you're cleaning, and it works. That works just as well as incense or candles or sage, whatever. It works just as well because you're putting that intention into the action of physically cleaning. So not only are you motivated now to clean your room, but you are making sure that no negative energy is in your space. And you could do the same thing if you're in the bath or the shower. Use your bath or shower water to physically cleanse yourself and just repeat to yourself, I am cleansed, mind, body, and spirit. I am cleansed, mind, body, and spirit. I am cleansed, mind, body, and spirit. And repeat that as many times as you want until you believe it. The next low-key witchy tip is to drink some tea. So by stirring in your sugar and honey, you could stir the spoon clockwise to bring in the positive energy or to bring in what you want to manifest, and stir it counterclockwise to get rid of anything you want to release. And honey is great as well because honey is representing of abundance, and so when you're stirring in the honey, you're bringing in the abundance and you're releasing the stress. You are not going to stress about money. So keeping that in mind is great. You could put in any herbs in your tea, lavender, I don't know what other herbs you put in there. Cinnamon. Some people put cinnamon in their tea and it's really good apparently. But putting in that stuff and stirring it in, and you'll have a tea that manifests whatever you desire, and it's settled. You're just making a cup of tea. Nothing witchy about it. Nope. The connected to this is kitchen magic. It's the same concept, but instead of just with tea, anything you're making, anything you're cooking, put in some herbs with the spiritual qualities that you want, and it works. Just keep your intention clear. Keep repeating what is the purpose of what you're making, like why are you making it and what do you want to manifest, and it works. The second last tip I have for you is for glamour magic. While you're putting in your skincare products or your concealer, if you're doing, skincare routine or makeup routine, draw in sigils or runes or the pentagram using your product. So draw it like on your face physically with the product and then blend it in. And there, voila, you have a sigil with you at all times. It's just blended into your skin. Nobody knows but you. Same thing with runes. And I blended in my makeup. I have a rune on my face and nobody knows. So glamour magic, there's so much you can do. That was just one example, but I feel like there are so much other options too. The color of your makeup is color magic. There, it's subtle. You're manifesting what you want, and you're just wearing makeup. No one needs to question it. Your outfits, when you're putting on a specific outfit, make sure it's a specific color. And that's what I love about color magic. Colors are everywhere. Like no one can think anything of it because, I just like this color on me. No, you're manifesting that. But yeah, so that's for glamour magic. And then finally, music. Music is amazing. You could play music that has particular intentions. There are tons of playlists on Spotify and YouTube and Apple Music, whatever. There's tons with different different meanings, songs for different intentions, like self-love, money, abundance, confidence, spiritual growth, like faith-filled songs to worship your deities, prayers, all those stuff. But yeah, play the music with particular intentions and no one will think anything of it because you're just jamming to your music. That's it. So that is the end of this episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did like it, give it a big like, comment, and subscribe and support my future podcast making. If you also like my content, you can follow me on Instagram at AndysWitchcraft and TikTok at Tarot by Andy. And you can join the Discord server Crystal Caverns. The link will be below in my link tree. And I think that's everything. I think that's all my social media stuff. But yeah. And in the link tree, if you have a suggestion for a future episode, you want me to make an episode on something, that is also in the link tree. You can fill in the Google form and suggest a future video. That's about it. Blessed be everyone. Have a wonderful day, week, month, and year.